Over time, there have been numerous incidents involving the use of boom pumps, where workers and the public have suffered serious or fatal injuries. Incidents have included overturning of a boom pump due to a failure of a structural slab, ground conditions, or setting up on a pit, for example. Structural failure in the boom. Full or partial collapse of the boom. End hoses uncoupling and falling during a concrete pour, or while being cleaned out. End hoses whipping around. Being struck by concrete, or the pipe cleanout device, during the cleanout process. Bursting pipes, bends and end hoses. Pipe clamp failures. Persons being entangled in the pump's moving parts. And the boom striking overhead power lines. Plant induction. The Hallmarc plant induction process includes the following checks. A high-risk work license. The operator must hold a current Class PB license issued by, or recognized by WorkSafe Victoria. All operators and line hands must hold a valid construction induction white card. A site-specific safe work method statement covering high-risk construction work must be reviewed, signed, and followed by the entire crew. Plant registration. Ensure the truck-mounted boom design is formally registered with WorkSafe Victoria. Testing and documentation. Pipe thickness and component testing must be carried out at intervals defined by the manufacturer and in accordance with Part 8 of the WorkSafe industry standard. The Hallmarc inductor must confirm this documentation as a part of the plant induction. The boom pump operator is required to provide and update this information accordingly. Planning and preparation is the first step in ensuring concrete pumping operations are performed safely. Planning should incorporate the project's total concrete pumping operational requirements. This plan may need to be reviewed each time a concrete pumping operation is scheduled to take into account any changes or unforeseen circumstances. It is important to consult as early as possible when planning to introduce measures to control risks associated with construction work. Hallmarc must be focusing on ensuring that employers and self-employed persons involved in concrete pumping operations are complying with their respective obligations, for example, to provide and maintain, so far as is reasonably practicable, plant or systems of work that are safe and without risks to health, such as ensuring that no-go zones around power lines are observed and ensuring adequate traffic management controls are in place. Ensuring that operators of a boom pump hold an appropriate high-risk work license, for example PB. And ensuring that high-risk construction work, including operating a boom pump, is not performed unless a safe work method statement is prepared before the work commences, and work is performed in accordance with that safe work method statement. Ensuring, so far as is reasonably practicable, that risks associated with construction work, for example, concrete pumping operations, are controlled using the hierarchy of control. Hallmarc must also be ensuring that the concrete pumping industry standard is being followed, including requirements related to the location of the boom pump setup, traffic and pedestrian management, no-go zones for overhead power lines, boom pump inspections and maintenance, including pipe componentry, for example, pipe clamps and safety pins, thickness testing of pipeline components, boom pump setup, including outrigger placement, control of trucks discharging into the hopper, hopper guarding and emergency controls, and a pump and pipeline clean-out process. Let's look at the hierarchy of control. Number 1. Eliminate the risk, such as using a line pump instead of a boom pump, where there is a risk of contact with overhead power lines. Number 2. Reduce remaining risk by using the following. Substituting a new activity, procedure or plant such as using engineered bog mats instead of loose timbers for outrigger packing. Isolating people from the hazard, such as establishing a safety zone around the pump hopper to restrict access when the concrete trucks are discharging into the pump. Using engineering controls, such as attaching a cage to the end of the pipeline during clean-out to catch the clean-out device. Fitting a fail-safe interlock device to the hopper grill. And using impact barriers to prevent vehicles striking outriggers. Number 3. Reduce remaining risk by using administrative controls. Placing warning signs at personnel access points. And by providing appropriate information, instruction, training or supervision, for example, as part of the site induction. Number 4. Reduce remaining risk by using personal protective equipment, such as high-visibility clothing, hard hats, safety glasses, safety boots and appropriate gloves. Note that a combination of risk control measures from the various control levels will usually be required. Review and, if necessary, revise risk controls. Risk controls must be revised before making a change to the way the construction work is performed or to the system of work. If new or additional information about hazards become available. If the risks are not adequately controlled or after receiving a request from a health and safety representative. Note that if risk control measures do not adequately control the risks and are revised, the SWIMS must also be revised. Safe Work Method Statement Requirements. The SWIMS must identify work that is high-risk construction work. State the hazards and risks of that work. Sufficiently describe measures to control those risks. Describe how the risk control measures are to be implemented. And be set out and expressed in a way that is readily accessible and comprehensible to those who use it. High-risk construction work includes construction work on or near energized electrical installations or services, and construction work adjacent to roadways or railways used by road or rail traffic. If a SWIMS is not being followed, the high-risk construction work must stop immediately or as soon as it is safe to do so and not resume the work until the SWIMS is complied with or reviewed, and if necessary, revise. Employee legal duties. Employees have duties, including taking reasonable care of their own health and safety and that of others who may be affected by their acts or omissions at work. This includes not interfering with or misusing items provided by their employer at a workplace, including tools and safety equipment, for example, pumping at pressure greater than the pipeline capacity. This is the concrete pumping industry standard. This industry standard provides practical advice on the safe use of concrete pumping equipment in the workplace. Hallmarc site management should have this document at hand on site. The concrete pumping industry standard is for operators of concrete placing equipment, employers and self-employed persons who have responsibilities to manage hazards and risks associated with the operation and use of concrete placing equipment. The standard includes principles and requirements for using concrete placing equipment in the building and construction industry. The standard covers the following topics, among others. Who has duties? Types of concrete placing equipment. Training and competency. Hazards including electrical, crushing, overturning, falling object, entanglement, striking, environmental, and fall hazards, and hazards related to pipeline blockages. Work practices. Pipelines. Emergency procedures. And inspection and maintenance.